The guard's hand clamped around her arm, his voice cutting through the lobby's hum, sharp as a verdict. "People like you don't belong here." Laughter trickled from the front desk, the receptionist smirking as phones angled higher, capturing her public humiliation. She stood perfectly still, unshaken, as the insults were thrown like stones. What none of them knew was that this supposed intruder owned every polished tile they stood on. Before we continue, tell us where in the world you're watching from. Drop it in the comments below. And if you enjoy this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more powerful content like this. In a few moments, their smug confidence would shatter, their key cards would die, and the woman they were trying to erase would dismantle their careers forever. The revolving glass doors whispered shut behind Amara Vance, her orange blazer a bright slash of color against the lobby's muted tones. She held only a slim folder, her walk composed, her presence absolute. Yet the second her heel touched the marble, eyes began to narrow. The security guard, Leo Simmons, moved to block her path, his boots loud and heavy on the stone floor. "ID now," he commanded, his expression already soured. Amara paused, her voice even and smooth. "I'm here for the board meeting." Leo's lip curled into a sneer. "Board meeting? Not for you. People like you can wait on the curb." His hand shot out, clamping onto her sleeve, his grip deliberately tight. A few employees nearby let out small gasps, their phones rising discreetly. Behind the reception desk, Nina Petrova smirked. "HR is in the basement. Maybe you're lost." Her voice was just loud enough to earn a few chuckles from interns waiting by the elevators. Amara did not react. Her silence was a fortress. Leo mistook it for fear. "Don't play dumb. Show me an ID before I have to drag you out of here." The crowd of onlookers began to shift, a current of discomfort running through them. A young assistant standing near a pillar whispered, "She doesn't look lost to me." His phone's camera angled up, recording. Just then, a manager, Marcus Thorne, marched forward. His tie was too tight, his confidence a fragile shell. His voice was a gavel strike against the quiet. "Executives don't wait in lobbies. Whoever you are, you're disrupting actual business." He tore the visitor badge from her blazer and slammed it on the counter with such force that it bounced onto the floor. Gasps echoed across the marble. More phones turned toward him. Still, Amara said nothing. Thorne scoffed. Another fraud. The word hung in the air, heavy and ugly. Nina crossed her arms, looking triumphant. "Security's been called. You have 5 seconds before you're officially removed." Leo leaned in closer, his breath hot, trying to intimidate her in front of the growing audience. "This is not your space. Do yourself a favor and walk away now." Amara's absolute stillness was more unsettling to him than any argument could have been. Her eyes remained locked forward, unblinking. From the back of the crowd, someone muttered, "If she were white, she'd already be on the top floor." Thorne picked up the broken badge, snapped it in half, and tossed the pieces into a nearby trash can. "You're finished here," he announced. The silence that followed was more profound than any shout. Phones were recording every single second. The young assistant swallowed hard, his voice trembling slightly. "I saw her name on the schedule this morning." His words were quiet but clear, and the cameras captured them. Thorne whipped his head around. "Excuse me?" "I checked the system," the assistant repeated, his voice gaining strength. "Vance, executive clearance, boardroom access." A buzz went through the crowd. Nina's smirk began to fade. Leo's grip on her arm loosened. Thorne scoffed. A fresh hire doesn't know protocol. But the whispers were spreading faster than he could deny them. Amara finally moved, her hand sliding into her pocket and pulling out her phone with deliberate calm. She raised it to her ear. Activate protocol. The entire lobby went still. A crisp voice replied through the speaker. Protocol engaged. All access and interactions logged. Corporate has been notified. Phones tilted higher. Someone in the crowd whispered, "That's real." Thorne's face went pale, his authority evaporating with every passing second. "You think calling someone is going to change anything?" Amara slowly lowered her phone. "It changes everything." The guard took a step back, suddenly uncertain. Nina's fingers tapped nervously on her keyboard, a hollow gesture of summoning help. The young assistant lifted his chin. "She's not bluffing," another voice from the crowd added. "Prove she's lying. Pull up the system." Thorne's jaw was tight. "I don't answer to random people." "Then who do you answer to?" another guest challenged. The murmur grew into a wave of open defiance. The tide had irrevocably turned. Amara finally spoke again. Her voice was quiet, but it cut through the noise. "Careful." That single word silenced the entire room. Even the lights seemed to dim. Thorne's arrogance crumbled. Nina's hands froze over her keyboard. Leo stepped back completely, his hand falling limply to his side. The phones were all streaming live now, their red lights glowing like tiny alarms. "You're trespassing," Thorne yelled, his voice cracking with desperation. "Fraud, identity theft." Amara tilted her head, her eyes like chips of ice. "Every insult, every threat, every attempt to make me invisible is logged, not by me, but by them." She gestured to the crowd with her phone. She lifted it again. "Initiate termination. Lock all credentials." A calm voice replied, "Confirmed. Board-level access revoked." Nina's badge reader blinked red. Leo's radio hissed with static. Thorne's company tablet went dark. A roar went up from the crowd. She actually fired him on the spot. Someone shouted. Thorne's face twisted, raw panic showing through. "This isn't legal." Amara's eyes narrowed. "What's not legal is profiling the owner of this company, destroying her property, and calling her a fraud in her own lobby." A heavy silence descended. The phones stayed up, capturing the complete collapse of their world. "This company deserves better," Amara announced, her voice ringing across the marble. "And starting now, it will have it." The applause that followed was a storm, relentless and undeniable. Thorne collapsed into a chair, a hollowed-out man. Nina trembled, her useless badge blinking red like a warning light. Leo leaned against the wall, no longer a guard, just an exposed man. Amara slipped her phone back into her pocket. The crowd parted for her as she walked toward the elevators, the clicks of her heels sounding like judgments. At the doors, she turned back one last time, her gaze sweeping over them. They thought silence was weakness, but silence is just power, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The elevator chimed. She stepped inside, leaving behind a lobby that would never be the same.